Metronome's a funny move. It has the properties of turning every combat interaction into what could be called a Vegas slot machine. With 462 moves as of the 4th gen, you can either hit it big with a one-hit kill move like Guillotine, or... yeah. Well, today, I am playing that slot machine all to figure out if I can beat Pokemon Soul Silver by only using Metronome. But before we can answer that question, I have to make a very important decision. Who's going to be my starter? I decided on the little fire guy and left the naming to ChatGPT, and I came up with Emberflare. Now, I know what you're asking, but wait, Cyndaquil never learns Metronome. And you'd be right. Well, now, everyone can. Because through some back alley dealings, I now have 90 Metronome TMs. And you do not want to know what I had to do to get my hand on these. So I put that all behind me and set forth into the wondrous world of Pokemon. Bro, if this Hoo-Hoo kills me, I'm alt F4ing, I don't care. With the fear of God in me, I make it to Cherry Grove City, yoing some Yeezys from an elderly man, and then me a loser. Okay, enough of this. I am foaming at the mouth, waiting for some battling, when we finally meet our first plot battle with Rich Girl Scott. Randomizer trainer names are on, just FYI. And it all goes about how you'd expect it. Patiently waiting for a damaging move, but when you get one, dude, it feels so good. But then there's the other side to the Metronome room, where stuff like this happens. Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, GG. Shake my hand, Missy. Missy, my hand's excited for you. Shake it. Yes, please. Shake. Wait. What the Why do I lose? What the hell is this shit? What is this? So, yeah, this may be a little bit more difficult than I thought it would be. I get back to Bootleg Oak, blame someone that I just met for theft, and then meet the author of the Zodiac Killer cipher that was sent to my email, Ethan. I bet he knows a lot about capturing some unsuspected victim. He normally doesn't have a Typhlosion, does he? Nope. The answer is nope. After getting a crash course in kidnapping from Jeffrey Dahmer himself, I was able to catch a Hoo-Hoo and named him Nightwatch. I deal with some low elo trainers, I love punching down, and finally make it to Violet City, where I start battling my first gym leader, Faulkner, who has a level 9 Pidgey with Tackle and Sand Attack and a level 13 Pidgeotto. But unfortunately, he isn't taking any challengers at the moment. To prove my worth, I have to conquer the Sprouts Tower, so I just show up and honestly, I just clean house. Like, humiliate some guys in their 30s. Let's look at Ghost Rider Daniel here, whose level 6 Bellsprout gets hit with a Hyper Fang. You can't play around that. While stealing some of these adults' livelihood, Emberflare evolves into Quailava. With my special little guy evolving into a big boy, I set my sights on the leader of the Sprouts Tower, Cyclist Ann, who sends out a Bellsprout. Emberflare makes quick work by using Cross Chop, which crits. And then I watch his Hoo-Hoot spam Hypnosis. I feel like I'm the one being put to sleep, till I finally shut the owl up with a sheer cold. And then close the battle with their last Pokemon, yet another Bellsprout with a Dragon Rush to the face. That was actually easier than I thought. As a token for my elegant battling style, he throws me the TM Flash, with a high like a gambler hitting it big. I rushed to the now lively Violet City Gym to take down Swimmer Cammy. That went pretty well. I did not just lose to the first gym leader, oh my. So I walked back to the gym humbled and went with a different strategy, which was simply hitting crits. And then finish him off with a U-turn. With Cammy down, the Zypher badge is mine. I set my sights on Azalea Town, which is Buggy's domain. But before I can talk about Bugsy, I would have to travel through the treacherous Route 32, which turned into more of an endurance rush than I was ever expecting. The consistent battling of money-hungry trainers and the blindsided attacks from random Pokemon was difficult to deal with, especially with the added pressure that in any battle, I could roll the self-destruct or an explosion and would have to waste my time trekking back to where I currently am. I make it to what seems like the end of the route only to be welcomed by Union Cave, where I get introduced to the true hellscape of the Pokemon world. Caves are funny, because it's like what I imagine real-life hell would be like, especially with freaks like him. Finally, fresh air. One step into Azalea Town and I see Team Rocket bullying an old man. Honestly, kinda based. But then I see they're blocking the gym, so kinda cringe. I meet Old Man Kirk, who attempts to barge into Slowpoke Cave to deal with Team Rocket, only to have fallen and cannot get up. Don't worry, Kirk. I'll help you out. Eventually. Priorities, what can I say? I even call a Magikarp, who ChatGPT wanted to name Splashy. After catching the Magikarp, I decide that right now, it would be useful as like a metronome buffer, you know, like to get all the bad rolls out, and eventually could evolve into a beast. But right now, it's Nightwatch's training arc, and the perfect training partner is here, Schoolgirl Dooley, the one who's been causing all this trouble. Nightwatch manages to surprise me by rolling a substitution while at kill percent only to faint to coughing, and then Big Bro needed to fix everything. With the town liberated, Bugsy decided to come back. Well, I guess it's time to teach that carrot a lesson, and we finally go head to head. Honestly, it wasn't too difficult, just clean battling. I whittled down his Metapod, Scyther, and Kakuna to eventually obtain the Hive Badge. Very cool. I was starting to plan my next course, but Scott wanted to battle again. But this time, his team was a little bit different. He added a level 12 Ghastly, a level 14 Zubat, and evolved his Totodile into Croconaw. Okay. The kid has hands, but I eventually flex on him, and now, it's everyone's favorite time, Elex Forest time, where I have to help some neglectful trainer find their missing Farfetch'd. My question is, why do I have to do this? But I can't complain too much because it wasn't all useless. Everyone welcome Eggheado to the team. After we give the trainer his Farfetch back, he offers us an HM, which, I hate to admit, kinda useful. I named the newly caught Mareep Wolshock. You can tell ChatGPT's really digging deep for these names now. And eventually get into a battle after battle, until I finally touched base at Goldenrod City. But I was not excited. I was scared, knowing what would come next. The horror of the run. Even a potential roadblock. I could be here for weeks. Because of Whitney, the normal gym leader. Her level 17 Clefairy is whatever. I mean, you know, we could have a metronome off, that'd be pretty cool. What I want to focus on is her level 19 Miltank, who can wipe my whole team with a rollout, which is a 5-turn cutscene. I am preparing for the worst, and she is, she's not here. These gym leaders really cannot be bothered to do their jobs, can they? Well, I have some time to kill, so I just explore the city. I check out the department store, I walk down Cook Alley only to be assaulted by trainers, call Toxic Fang on Route 35, and then realize I am wasting my time because there's nothing to do here. Everywhere basically explored, I go somewhere I haven't. The radio tower. I take the quiz, which has some hard-hitting questions like, do you check the map with the Pokegear? After having the game straight up insult my intelligence, Whitney finally returns to her gym. Now it's on site. The gym itself wasn't too bad. It seemed like a maze, which can be annoying, but luckily none of her friends or co-workers gave me much trouble. Eventually I went face to face with the demon girl herself, Swimmer Thomas. Her Clefairy honestly wasn't too much trouble. One close combat and she was basically finished. Now the Miltank. Through the graces of Arceus, I ended up top-decking a Hyper Beam, which eviscerated it. And that was it. With the major L she has to live with, she hands over the Plane Badge. Alright. Once outside, okay, who the hell is calling me? One of the greatest things they added to this game is the Pokegear, which allows trainers to endlessly annoy you with phone calls. Okay, let's look at Joey. Let's see what Joey's calling me for. Joey, he calls me almost at 10 o'clock p.m. just to tell me the Rattata I dusted earlier is super cool. Okay, little bro, whatever helps you sleep at night. I ended up catching a Sudowoodo that was blocking my path and continued towards Ecruteak City. And look at this, Morty isn't home. He's at the Burn Tower. Why is it so hard to do your job? I walk over to the Burn Tower, I deal with the wild Pokemon littering the floors, catch a coughing, and then have another match with Scott. It gets close, especially when Petra fake lunar dances himself. But luckily, Ember Flare exists, and we just get some great rolls. I accidentally let out the legendary God Pokemon from their eternal slumber, but who's got time for that? It's gym time. But now we're dealing with trainers with 5 Pokemon, which means there's a lot of room for failure. But I have faith in my team. Okay, well, I did not see this coming. This is an issue, and a huge one. Spite, a move that lowers your Pokemon's overall PP, not only hard counters my team, but hard counters the cheat I'm using to make this possible. Shit. Which means against these trainers, I have at most 30 metronomes against any Pokemon with Spite. So my strategy is simple. Have them restore my Pokemon's PP and then head back for more. God, that's hard to say without laughing. This goes on for about 5 trainer battles till I finally make it to Swimmer Webster, whose Ghastly attempts to Spite spam me, but with the sacrifice of Eggheado, not only did he get off multiple Pale Dances, he also wasted Webster's 1 Hyper Potion, which is huge. Eggheado, you will be missed. Petrified comes out swinging only to be one-shot by Gengar. Now, my biggest issue, once again, is Spike can literally shut down my team. I pray for a dream and send out our ace Ember Flare, who gets double Shadow Balled. Maybe Wall Shot? I forget I said anything. I only have one Pokemon left, and I was saving him for last. Nightwatch. Now, Nightwatch is a normal type Pokemon, so this is going to get very boring. I do a move, does no damage. Gengar does Hypnosis, which would have hit if Nightwatch didn't use Skill Swap a turn before. It hits, Nightwatch wakes up, only to then be put back to sleep again. This goes on for what felt like a lifetime, slowly whittling down his health, hoping to Arceus themselves that a self-destruct would transfer into the real world and kill me also. But luckily, Zenhippa answers my prayers instead. And onto the last Pokemon Haunter, they use Curse, only to be critted by Thunder. Then, Nightwatch hits it with a deadly combo. Having feeling like something was off, I used my only Revive turn earlier on Ember Flare. This is it. This is all I have. Knowing that Webster showed his cards a little too early, I used my last Awakening to counter the sleep caused by Hypnosis, only to then pull off a super effective Steel Wing. Now, it's time to deal with his ace. Ember Flare, it's a Night Shadow. We can do this. I just need the right pull. Or not. I received the Fog Badge from Morty, and the ability to learn Surf, which was a hollow victory, but a victory nonetheless. Knowing that I had that much difficulty dealing with Morty, I wasn't truly excited for what was next. I traveled through the treacherous Mount Mortar and made it to Mahogany Town to learn there's some going on at the Lake of Rage. While surfing through the waters, I see a Gyarados. I catch it and name it Flats. And then I realized the one causing all the mayhem was the shiny Gyarados. Well, what's the problem with another Gyarados? Everyone, welcome to the team, CryptoCarp. Thanks, ChatGPT. I talk to Lance, who asks me to help him on an investigation. I got nothing better to do. And then leaves, leaving me to figure out where he is. Now, if I had a 4th grade reading level, I would literally just ask any of the citizens, but alas, I am illiterate, so now we are going to Aveline City, home of Jasmine, the Steel-type trainer. She has 2 level 30 Magnemites and a level 35 Steelix. Well, this should be a piece of cake for my new tea and cheese in here. What was I expecting at this point? I was told by Skylar that she climbed the lighthouse, so unfortunately, I have to climb it. I race to the top, dodging any trainer battle since the lack object permanence, and meet up with Jasmine at the top. You gotta be kidding me. Now I'm on pharmacy duty. Then trek through the treacherous Route 40, which was an aquatic hellscape littered with the tankiest tentacles I've ever seen in my life. Through that chaos, though, Nightwatch evolves into a Furret. I also, I don't know how to say this. I also run into Gatia. What? Being the benevolent god she is, she lets me, a mere mortal, win, and I eventually touch down at Siam Wood City. Guess they call anything a city nowadays. I collect the medication, but while I'm here, I attempt to fight Chuck, the fighting gym leader. He has a level 29 Primeape and a level 31 Poliwrath. The good thing about Chuck is his strategy is simple. It's all about Focus Punch, which will one-shot my Pokemon if it hits. Normally would be fine, but Poliwrath has Hypnosis, so basically I'm a free target. Why did you have to evolve Nightwatch? In the fray though, that didn't happen. Yeah. Wayne hit those lucky 7s, I managed to will down his Primeape, finish him off with a Spike Cannon, and Will-O-Wisps his Poliwrath, all to stall, while the burn does the heavy lifting. And let me tell you, it got close. Swimmer Max reluctantly gives me the Storm Badge, which allows me the greatest ability ever, Fly. Now I have to give Jasmine a taste of my medicine, but first I have to give her the medicine. That's the stupidest thing I ever wrote in my life. Then, finally, we do battle. And it went awful. It felt like my Pokemon were messing with me because no shot Ember Flare thought Blizzard would work against a Steel type. After a stern but respectful talking to, listen, I need you guys to bring your A game. You're humiliating me. I'm looking at you, Ember Flare. If you pull that crap again, you're getting boxed. You hear me? They give me the run I want. Earth Power against Onix, Ember Flare. This is what I'm talking about. Okay, Carp with the substitution. I'm just waiting for the explosion at this point. Okay, Flare Blitz. That's good. So how does it hit if the sprite's levitating? That gives us the Mineral Badge. and I think I was forgetting something. Oh yeah, Egghead evolved into Spinda. Oh, and the Lancing. Yeah, okay. I find this nerd in one of 3 houses, watch Dragonite murder a man in cold blood right in front of me, and begin questioning my allegiances as we infiltrate Team Rocket's HQ. Now this is oh my god. This area is obnoxious. These snitch devices will go off and then I'm stuck in a 15-minute cutscene rolling for initiative. So I tried my best to avoid battles, but everyone in this HQ is dude, it's on site over here. I basically got the 2 passwords I was looking for yelled at me from halfway across the room and then opened the doors, all to battle 3 electrodes. Which makes the odds of hitting a self-destruct even greater. Yay. Okay, everyone shut up. Oh my god. Everyone say hi to Typhlo. What? My ace? This is a monumental setback. You have no idea. What makes it even worse is that the next gym leader is the geriatric Pierce. You know, the ice trainer, the type that's weak to fire and fighting. I learned that he has a level 30 Seal, a level 32 Dugong, and a level 34 Piloswine. Now hopefully Emberflare can live up to the... Wow. And then Cryptocarp gets a low kick to finish up the slop, and we get the Glacier badge. Oh, hold on. Elm's calling me. Seems like there's some wackiness happening at Radio Tower. So we head there, and it's Team Rocket up to their misdemeanors again. So I go through the radio station, and look at that. I have to fight, another Onslaught trainers. Great, dude. But there's one thing that stood out to me. Let me tell you about my man, Petrel. So my man has a level 30 coughing, 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 and a level 32 wheezing, who all know either self-destruct or explosion. This is the funniest team I've ever seen in my life, and I could not tell you why. Well, it's not too funny now. While farming, Wolfshock evolves into Luxray. I add him to the team comp, and the second attempt went a little bit differently. Cryptocarp tri-attacks and then freezes the first coughing, then finishes it off with a cross chop. Cryptocarp ice punches the first coughing only to become a martyr using explosion against the wheezing. I expect nothing less from a shiny Gyarados. One of the 27 identical coughings though clapped back by using the most disrespectful self-destruct against Egghead I've ever seen in my life. The rest of the battle was just reviving my 2 heaviest hitters, injecting them with borderline illegal substances till they rolled something Daddy liked. Finally, surely now I can go back to the... I guess I'm not done. Well, I head back to Cuck Alley, take the Goldenrod Tunnel to the department store where I do the same song and dance. I get the key card, go to the radio tower, and start battling the 2 Team Rocket executives. The first one on the chopping block is Squirrel Girl Jimmy, who has a level 32 Arbok, a level 32 Vileplume, and a level 32 Murkrow, which all went down pretty easily. The second feller I had a little bit more trouble with. Schoolgirl Robin, who had a level 35 Houndier, a level 35 Coughing, and a level 30 Howdoom. And let's see how that went. This is the problem. Both Houndoom and Houndier have Bite, and they're faster than any of my Pokemon, so dealing with them is the first priority. If only I could use a move that could paralyze. I just need one good roll, and then I'd be finally out of loser's queue. But then the worst happened. He just played around me. Here's where I started to realize something. I had obvious favorites. Emberflare, my day 1, and my ace Cryptocarp were beefed up and roided, but everyone else was looking like they'd never entered a gym before. So I went off into the woods for a while. Re-explored areas I may have been a bit too hasty getting through, fighting Pokemon for that juicy sliver of XP, until I felt that we were ready to tackle Robin again. This time would be different. I started with Egghead, who was able to stand up and body the Houndier, only to get slain by the Houndoom. Petrific comes out swinging with a small victory, but then ends up sacrificing himself while my main man cleans things up. Now, all that's left is the coughing. And he gets a face full of skull. Victory has never tasted sweeter. Unable to live down the fact that a 10-year-old gambling addict beat him at rock, paper, scissors, Robin decides to disband the dastardly Team Rocket. The director thanks me by giving me the silver wing and tells me about the mysteries of the Whirl Islands. There's nothing here. Yes, I wasted my time doing an area of the game I shouldn't have yet. Lugia ain't here, and I spent the whole day lost, cold, and scared. But whatever, at least Torchic evolved into Infernape, so I guess we're good in that department. We have the last Johto gym leader to face off against, and God, she is a wild one. Claire of Blackthorn City has a level 38 Gyarados, 2 level 38 Dragonairs, and 1 level 41 Kingdra, which means it won't be fun. But before that, we need to go through Ice Cave. I slipped my way through battles with Delibirds and Jinxes only to be stuck doing boulder puzzles. Forget all that stuff I said earlier. This is what hell looks like. Eventually, I feel the radiant heat from the sun as I make it to Blackthorn City, where I head straight for the gym. And this gym was no joke. Every trainer had a Sea King or Dratini, which was a very important learning moment. And this gym puzzle made me question my IQ. Finally, though, after some time, I finally make it to Claire. Hopefully this goes... I'm not having fun. I'm not having fun anymore. Okay. But what if it was just some bad... It had nothing to do with luck. You know what? I'm gonna say she has no honor. Now, trying to counter her dragon typing, I enlisted the help of her new friend, Santa Claus the Delibird. He will help. Oh my god. It's over. Trying to salvage a run, I switched to Eggheado to hopefully do some damage. Oh my god, you're a legend. That's my son. Claire throws out her Dragonair, who gets U-turned for half. As a substitute, Ember Flare gets enlisted. This backfires badly. With my hands forced, I throw the only female who has proven to clean house Wolshock, who rolls a magic coat and then reflects a Thunder Wave. I am in disbelief. Losing her Pokemon to a 9 million IQ play, Claire only had one choice left. Her Kingdra, who opens up with, okay, that is not good. Well, that would be awesome if that wasn't her last Pokemon, Wolshock. I use this turn as a send-off to Wolshock by reviving Ember Flare, which in retrospect was a brain-dead decision because water beats fire. Now we have an issue. My Pokemon's typings were not optimized for her, and it's starting to show. But I had a plan, and this plan was to hope and pray that Cryptocarp will save me. He, after some questionable rolls, gets hit with a Thunder Wave, which leads into a Zed Headbutt, and defeats the Kingdra, which leads us to victory. Claire cries, and now we should go to the Dragon's Den. Okay, well I'm here. Old man asks, do you like Pokemon? I say, they're alright, and forces Claire to give me the Rising Bag, which means, I can't believe I'm saying this, we now have access to the Indigo Plateau, where we face the Elite Four. But wait though, wouldn't it be like hilarious if there was a roadblock and I would have to defeat the Kimono Girls with their different evolutions? Umbreon was easy to deal with. Espeon, on the other hand, is what am I trying to say? A real f***ing problem. So I decided that it's time to get a dark type for its immunity to Psychic Booms. I had my eyes on one in particular, Absol. I was told by a friend, that friend being Google.com, that in any cave in Johto, play the Pokemon music channel on a Wednesday night and Absol will just fall out of the sky. And the internet wouldn't lie to me, right? Plan B was going Safari Zone shopping. Oh, I wonder which dark type I will add to my team. Well, I guess you're gonna have to do. Okay, now, leveling time. Now let's get back at those Kimono Girls. The Kimono Girls weren't that much trouble, and the other evolutions ended up being really close, but we made it through. Now we're back at the Whirl Islands, and yes, I am using a Master Ball to catch Lugia. Meet Zephyr. Having done everything in Johto, next up is the Elite Four. Traveling to the Indigo Plateau wasn't easy. A battle here, a random encounter there, even a self-destruct. Isn't that funny? But that wouldn't stop me. I got through Route 27, Tojo Falls, Route 26, got humiliated by author Veronica's Flaffy, which was really embarrassing. I don't want to talk about it. Let's move past it. And finally, Victory Road, which honestly was a lot more cavey than I was expecting. I mean, it's Victory Road. I thought it was like a paved road, but nevertheless, I made it to the Indigo Plateau. And this is where I began to battle the Elite Four. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, I misspoke. That I meant be their punching bags. No matter how many attempts I tried, they all ended the same way. The Elite Four were just better than me. I even tried to grind for some more levels. And you know, I hate grinding in this game. But alas, even that didn't work. For the first time in my life, There's a wall I can't bash my head against. Then I remember that this is a little baby game for infants, so I decided to start thinking about how to counter these Pokemon. Well, first, let's talk about the blatant issue, item management. I haven't talked about it, but items have been a big crutch for me. Using ethers to counter spite, and healing when my Pokemon get a bit overzealous have really helped me in this run. And since I have to go back to back to back to back to back with trainers, I need some more items. But the problem is I'm broke. I used all my money during the last couple attempts, and the items I do have just aren't going to get me through. It's time to use the item tracker. I go through all the Johto again, getting any nuggets for extra cash, max revives, hyper potions, anything that will give me an edge against these Sunsetters. Next was probably the worst issue in my opinion. My Pokemon weren't good. Now listen, I love these little guys more than life themselves, but their typing isn't great for who I have to go against. Not only that, I need decent stats. So I'm looking for third evolutions at this point. With this in mind, I go back to the Safari Zone and I start catching a lot of Pokemon of different typings. Then the fun begins. But that became boring. And now I do not have time to spare. So I switched to rare candies. Wow, look at these rare candies that I found all around Johto. And force feed these fuckers until they evolve into beasts who can defeat all the 5 trainers. And also, I took Delibird out back and let's just say he's in a better place now. The funniest part to me was that this ended up feeling like a gacha game. I literally never knew what Pokemon I would roll. A Chikorita could theoretically evolve into Rayquaza. And here's my final team. Here's what the final team lineup looks like. Beasts. All of them. Now, let's see how well they can do. First up is Will, the Psychic Trainer. Will's game plan is very simple. He uses Xatu's U-turn to deal damage and then act as a free switch to pull in the right Pokemon for the situation. Very clever. So realistically, I take out the Xatus and deal with the others. Well, William did not like that, as Jinx, the first roadblock, was an uphill battle. Ice Punch really messes up my typings, and especially since they use Lovely Kiss into Ice Punch spam, basically destroys my heavy hitters. But Will did not know my Pokemon are misogynistic, and had to watch as they all took turns beating her up. Okay, morally, I don't agree with this, but I mean, I'm sure it's not gonna stop him. The last thing she saw was a magical leaf to the face. Both Xatus went down pretty easily thanks to Steely Dan, getting some great rolls while Exeggutor just gets humiliated. The last issue was a Slowpoke, whose winning condition is to curse spam into Water Gun. What William didn't realize is that Steely Dan was built Ford tough, and rolled an Aerial Ace to win the fight. Next up is Koga, the Poison Trainer, which had me worried about the potential Toxic spam, but it never really came to that. Toxic Fang somehow, though, through the graces of God, managed to take out some of Koga's hitters, and then the rest of my team ended up getting some fortunate rolls. All to end in a Perish Song against a +2 evasive Crobat. It was truly the only way I would have won. Next up, Bruno, the Fighting type trainer, was on the chopping block next. This battle truly had me shaking in my boots due to his level 43 Onix, which hard counters my heaviest hitters, Cypher and Cryptocarp with Rock Slide, and his level 42 Hitmonchan that had 4 different elemental punches, Thunder, Fire, Ice, and Bullet Punch. Luckily against the Onix, Cryptocarp pulls a Muddy Water. The Onix faints while Sandstorm, which should have killed Carp, didn't. He stands tall. Only for a Bullet Punch to take my guy out. Hitmonchan went out pretty easily with a Hydro Pump into Dig combo. And to be honest, his other Pokemon were no trouble at all, mostly just needing to be whittled down. And just as a middle finger to the RNG gods, we managed to end the battle with a Fissure. Lastly, Karen, the Dark-type trainer. Looking at her Pokemon, there's really nothing that intimidates me except this fucking beast, her level 47 Houndoom, which literally runs a train through most of my team. Until Ember Flare does the most noble thing a Pokemon can do. Luckily though, some good item play, lucky rolls, and 8 turns of low or nothing, we eventually come out on top, having beaten the Elite Four. But there's one last trainer left, Lance. The current Pokemon champion. His team is no joke. In fact, the current team I'm using is designed specifically with him in mind because there's so many chances to fail with any of his Pokemon. But the ones I'm most afraid of are the Dragonite triplets, each having a different elemental attack, Fire Blast, Blizzard, and Thunder. But the issue is that 2 of them are the same level, so I have to be able to react based on their other moves. He starts with Gyarados, who gets counterflexed by Cryptocarp, only to be hit with a Dragon Claw from Steely Dan. After a crazy standoff, I start to gain momentum thanks to a charge beam from Zypher that takes out Mr. 5'7". He attempts to send out his Aerodactyl, only for Zypher again to roll a Magnet Blast, which, damn, I seriously think I could do this. Lance, wanting to end this battle quickly, throws out his level 50 Dragonite, who takes a double edge to the face. After getting hit with a couple of haymakers, I use a full restore as Dragonite spams Outrage. At this point, it was a waiting game. Then Lance, who's been sunsetting his Pokemon Red, let's be honest boys, come on, uses his only full restore. Oh my god, this is great. After a few turns of back and forth damage, Zypher unleashes my feelings playing this game, and then faints one of his 3 Dragonites. He pulls out a second Dragonite, who gets a front row seat to Zephyr unaliving himself. I don't know which Dragonite this is, but since this has become Slot Machine the game, I gamble on Rocky, who manages to roll a Lava Plume and get off a burn. This is so big for us, especially the damage nerf that it gives Dragonite. But Lance wasn't happy with that. In a moment of weakness, he sends out a Hyper Beam, only to be met with a Mirror Shot, and somehow his precious Dragonite faints off of a burn. At this point, I'm shaking. I've done this so many times at this point. I do not think I could go through the Elite Four again. So I hold my breath as he sends out his last Pokemon. Dragonite, it's Dragonite. Somehow, I get 2 fantastic rolls of Lovely Kiss into Thrash, which just kind of prints damage. But he wakes up angrier than ever, and Dragon Rushes my poor Rocky. Ember Flare gets sent out, only to immediately get pulled through the ringer, but comes back swinging with some good moves. And, by the grace of God themselves, Dragonite misses their Dragon Rush, which gave Ember Flare the perfect opportunity to roll Sleep Powder. Because Ember Flare did not want to win an Overcast 8, even though we're in a fucking building, he pulls Sunny Day, just for the flex. Listen, I get the disrespect, but can we win? I mean, he's basically on death's door. You just gotta touch him at this point. And then, he's about to roll the game-winning move when... Zypher gets played, only to survive a Hyper Beam to the face and retaliate with a Magma Storm. Oh my god, I did it. Lance, having finally sunset, says some cringe shit that my ass was not listening to, I'm gonna be honest with you. And then, like the true champions we are, we get our space in the Hall of Fame as a new Indigo Plateau League champions. It was so surreal seeing my boys up there. This group of fictional pixels on the screen meant more to me than some of my real life friends. This journey was a crazy one, but it is not over yet. I don't feel like I've beat the game. Telling my friends I was doing this super run, they all asked me the same thing. Are you going to fight Red, the protagonist from the first game, who couldn't find good enough trainers to battle, so he hid himself away on Mount Moon? Hey, I mean, real recognize real. To battle him though, I would need to go through all 8 Kanto gyms, so I did. Kanto went a lot smoother than Johto. Probably has to do with the fact that the gym leaders were actually in their gyms instead of fucking off somewhere. Lieutenant Surge got countered by Rocky. The Psychic Mistress had no answer for Zephyr, neither would I, if a gambling 10-year-old controlling a legendary beast wanted to duel. After that, Mega Punching Erica's Victory Bell, using Return to take out her Tangela, Air Cutter for Blossom, and a fucking Fly Swatter for Jumploof. Janine stood no chance in hell. Missy physically hurt me by soft-locking me into what could only be described as an infinite Tsukuyomi, where I watch my Pokemon get Ice Beam while she heals her Starmie for full. By the graces of God above, Hornjo releases me. I end up catching Joe Mama through the most intuitive bullshit I've ever seen, but it was totally worth it. That might be the most terrifying Snorlax in all of Kanto. We make it to Brock, whose gym needs a little bit of work. Let's just say he's a second-rate gym leader with third-rate Pokemon. I watch as all my Pokemon get bounced on by Blaine's Rapidash until Jomama kicks the life out of it. Tell her I said thanks for that. And then Blue, who made me want to cry. He was by far one of the tougher trainers in the game, and rightfully so. It ends the same way they all do, Zephyr pulling a Draco Meteor. Now, with all 8 Kanto leaders down, it's time to face Red, the toughest trainer in all of Kanto. I enter Mountain Silver Cave, travel up what seemed like the endless mountain to find Red standing there alone, the cold air flowing as snow slowly falls to our feet. We exchange no words as the battle begins, Oh no, he's a high level. The team gets wiped, and I get sent all the way back to my mom. I need to train more, but training is for idiots when you have something called legendary Pokemon that just roam about the map. So, now it's time where I went on a little pilgrimage. First off, was to the Cerulean Caves, where Mewtwo was hiding. I had some decent attacking moves which got him to about just the right amount of health to be caught with only 3 Ultra Balls. I name him what he'll be for me. Next were the 3 legendary dogs, who are annoying to deal with. I take out Reflecto the Wobbuffet and start tracking those puppies down. 1, 2... I attempt to catch both Ho-Oh and Latios, but Latios made me want to slit my wrists, and I ran out of Pokeballs against Ho-Oh. And after a new training regimen, this is the new anti-red team. Cryptocarp, Jomama, Zypher, Sparkdog, Closer, and Rocky Balbo. Once again, I trucked up Mount Silver, awaiting the final challenge before me. Red, or excuse me, Pansy. His team is absolutely stacked. He basically covers almost every type, and the fact that his Lapras isn't affected by hail makes it a little bit more apparent that my Pokemon need to find a way to play around that. First off, Red throws out his Pikachu, who ends up taking out Rocky, who I played with a specific intention to negate Thunder Spam. And getting hit with Sparkdog's Ice Punch in the jaw just kind of faints from the recoil damage from their Volt Tackle. With Sparkdog's health now low, Red sends out his Snorlax. Just kidding, it was Venusaur. He used Giga Drain to drain Sparkdog of his last remaining health. Zephyr is up next. Just kidding again, it's actually Carp, who uses a Giga Chad milk drink and then rolls a Blast Burn out of thin air, fainting the oversized plant dinosaur. I did not think Carp had that dog in him like that. Snorlax is up next. For real this time. It looks like Fish is on the menu because he uses Crunch and it really hurts my boy. After getting Sucker punched in the gut, Snorlax decides to use Blizzard. I begin to shift on the back foot, needing Hyper Potions to keep me in the game until I roll a Force Palm, which, that's concerning. Lapras exclaims, "I am here," by using Blizzard, freezing Cryptocarp. I use a full restore, only to have to do it a turn later. But the RNG gods might know something I don't, because the moment I get to breathe, thanks to Sing, which puts Lapras to sleep, and like always in this run, it's wasted. I continue to roll badly until Jump Kick, which takes out the Lapras. Next up is Blastoise, who uses Blizzard again. Jomama shows up and decides screw hail and uses Sunny Day. And then not only hits a Thunderbolt, but also paralyzes Blastoise. Then pulls a Luster Purge out of thin air. My Snorlax really do beat him. Last up was Charizard. Mr. 5'7" starts up with a Flare Blitz and then gets off the burn. This goes on for a while until we both take a turn to heal. Jomama rolls an Iron Tail, which gets Charizard to yellow. In the final moments, Charizard uses one last Flare Blitz, thinking it would kill both Jomama and themselves, but Jomama tanks it with 2 health left. Holy crap, we did it! After the battle, we exchange glares as he walks off Mount Silver. I am officially the best Pokemon trainer in Kanto. Now, as my first statement, as one of the greatest trainers of all time, I'm gonna retire.